Welcome to Popternative, where we dive into topical discussions from the worlds of pop culture, social media, and sports. Here is your host, Peter Remoliotis, aka PD Beats.
PD Beats here from Popternative, speaking to Cassandra Naud about Influencer, which is streaming now on Shudder. Welcome to the show. Thanks so much for being here.
Oh my God, it's an absolute pleasure. Thanks for having me.
I mean, I'm a big horror movie fan, so when I heard about this movie, I'm like, I'm in. You know what I mean?
That's amazing.
It's so awesome. I want to kind of start, because obviously this is such a dynamic, unbelievable horror movie. It's such a wild ride. It looks amazing and everything. But in general, like getting to work in horror right now at a time where there's such an appetite for a lot of that content, like what's that like for you specifically?
I mean, honestly, for me, it's a whole new world. I was never a horror gal at all whatsoever. I stayed away from it. I had an ex that was really, really into horror, and I dabbled and tried, but it's so exciting, and like I realized that it's such a fun genre because the sky's the limit. There's so much you can do in horror, so it's all pretty exciting.
How much do you know about Influencer? Because the audition process is so interesting to me, because I feel like there's you have different direction or different amount of information depending on the project. So like, how much did you know about Influencer specifically, audition-wise?
Yeah, I didn't know anything about it. The audition process was a little bit non-traditional.
Mhm.
The writer had seen me in a short, like it's a really weird short film. And then I had coffee with Kurt, our director, and then we just did a read through. Originally, I read for Madison for The Influencer, which is super funny. But yeah, we just did a read through, and then they were like, yep, that's our CW, which was just the best.
Is it your character, the Influencer? Oh no, I'm getting the spoilers. I don't know. I don't want to.
Oh, well.
No.
Madison is the actual influencer, right? I'm not going to do any spoilers. We have any.
If they watched the trailer, you know what I mean by that, right?
I mean, what is an influencer? You are influenced. The theme of influencing is very much in the film. So yes, I think you're right.
I will dive in. I will dive into some stuff. Because, so spoiler alert for people who haven't seen it, we're very good with this stuff. We put like spoilers in the description and everything.
Good.
Your character is in an interesting situation at some point because she thinks she has everything under control when in reality she does not. So from an acting perspective, is that a lot of fun playing a character that kind of thinks they know everything, like they know everything's going a certain way and it's not? Like, what's that like? Is it a challenge? Like, I'm curious about that.
It was such a challenge. So something that you might not know is we had a script change in Thailand. So that switch that I think you're talking about happened on location. So I had to kind of like wrap my head around, which Kurt and I talked about.
Like him showing up?
Sorry?
Like him showing up to Thailand?
The boyfriend?
Yeah, the boyfriend showing up? Is that or
No. Like the switch in CW. So she's very
yes.
And then
can you imagine the switch change? Yeah, his boyfriend's just gonna show up. Can you imagine?
We need a new character. Bring Ryan in. No. Her like character change.
Yes.
So when she meets the second influencer, Jessica, she needs to adapt because obviously her normal tactics aren't working. So that character switch, that like bubbly character that CW finally gets, like spoiler alert. That was kind of like a little bit last minute. So it was super fun. It was super challenging. I remember I struggled with it at first, but we got there. Kurt was very patient. But yeah, it was super fun.
It's early over here, so I'm just thinking, I'm like, wait, what was the script change? I'm trying to think, because I really like the movie, and I'm trying to think of all the scenarios. No,
all good. It's 9 a.m. over there. It's 2 p.m. over here. So.
And it was, it's crazy. Well, that's what I do on the weekends. I watch movies, and there's a lot of horror movies out, and it's great. So there's like, It's interesting too, because I do find, you mentioned kind of shooting in Thailand and everything. The movie kind of opens up, and I feel like as an audience member, you're kind of immersed in it and everything. So what was it like kind of being there? But what was it like also seeing kind of like the playbacks of Video Village and everything? Like, what was that like for you?
It's crazy watching it back because it's a travel film, right? So it's almost like a journal of your entire project in a movie, which is just absolutely crazy. But it was my first time in Asia. It's my first time. I had been to Europe, but I had never really traveled. So it was just such an incredible experience to get to go to a location like Thailand. And because our script had so much traveling, so I got to be a tourist while doing the job, which was just like such an incredible, like, I don't know when that's going to ever happen again, if that's ever going to happen again. I hope so. But it was just, yeah, it was amazing.
Is it one of those things too, where when you're reading the script for this, you saw the balance of it having kind of the traditional horror elements? Because it has the traditional horror elements. It definitely does. But it also has the new like kind of psychological game and the kind of like whole, what I love about horror right now, Cassandra, the people are scary kind of mentality of things, right? Did you see that balance a little bit in the script? Where it's kind of like, it's got the old elements of horror, but it's got the new elements as well. There's a nice blend with Influencer.
Yeah, no, totally. I think that Kurt was really trying to bring in some of that, like the new themes, and especially now with AI, it's pretty terrifying.
Did you find from a acting perspective, there were like tons of, like every time you go on a new set, there's always gonna be learning experiences, right? Because you're working with different crew, you're working in different areas. What were the learning experiences like for you specifically as an actor, storyteller on this movie?
Well, for me, the biggest thing for me was CW's physicality. I had never driven a motorcycle before, and there are a lot of motorcycle tracks. I had a fear of swimming. It was my first feature. It was my first #1 feature. So that to me in itself was just like such a big mountain, but like we did it and we got there, and there was only 12 of us, cast included. So, you know, we wore many hats on this journey. So it was a quick learning curve, but we got there and we managed to make something pretty incredible.
It's pretty amazing as well. What is the mindset when you wrap Influencer? I feel like it's kind of 50-50. I feel like maybe it was just kind of like, because you're taking everything in and it's obviously going to be emotional because it's done and everything. But then is there a little bit of a mindset like, wow, this is incredible. Like, what's the next project? Or did you need a break specifically?
God. Absolutely. I was like, okay, I'm like addicted to this. Like, I just wanted to keep going. I mean, maybe a little bit of a break. Influencer was a lot. It was a lot. We worked, especially our wrap day. We had shot, I think, for like 24 hours. I don't know. It was a lot. We shot all night long. And then it was a sunrise, which was our last shot, which was just I remember the feeling. It was bonkers. It felt a little bit.
How long was the shoot total? Like, were you there for a couple months?
Couple months for sure. I got there a little bit early just to do a little bit more of motorcycle and like get a little bit more familiar with the culture and the people for CW, because she's been there for so long. So I wanted to like, explore Thailand a little bit for myself, for my character. But I think I got there end of October. We left mid-December. It was a long shoot.
And it's so incredible. What was it like getting that call? So when the Shudder component of it, did you know when you wrapped, like when did you know that it was going to be going on Shudder? It was going to become a Shudder original?
I didn't know. We found out, I think it was a couple months later. Nice. Shudder was, gonna rep it. But yeah, that was really exciting. I remember Kurt, our director, called me and told me the good news, and it was awesome.
So awesome, because it came out at the end of May, right? So I think it's perfect timing, because now people could just rock this all summer. I feel like that's the best part too about this movie, Influencer, in my opinion, with horror, is the best, because there's like so many times that people are gonna get to watch this movie, because people could rock it all summer, and then October, you know what I mean, is like spooky season. And then, the holidays, you know what I mean? You might not get the gift you want. You're in that kind of like spooky mood. Put it back on.
Just put on Influencer.
No, but it's true, right? Have you thought about that? It's very interesting to think about that, right?
I hadn't thought about that. That's actually, that's good.
Oh, I go crazy in spooky season. October, I watch one horror movie a night. Cassandra?
Oh, yeah. I have a couple friends that do like the October one movie every day.
Yeah, sometimes I get a bit crazy and I watch 2 in one night. which is
That's
nuts. It's wild, a little wild, like CW, wild. But
Yeah, she's wild.
she's wild.
She's crazy.
It's no, but you did really like. It's funny you mentioned that switch, like the bubbly component of it. You did it like from an acting perspective. That's all credit to you. Like you did a really good job there, by the way.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it was, to me, that was challenging in that moment, but like looking back, it totally worked. Yeah.
I think like you're gonna see the incredible. Like, have you started seeing? Because it's only been out on Shudder for like a couple of weeks now, but are you starting to see the like amazing horror fandom come to life? Because it is an amazing fandom.
Like the horror fans?
The fans, yeah. Are you starting to see it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am. Yeah. It's been like overwhelming in the best way. I really didn't know what to expect. And I'm just like over the moon, and I have so much gratitude towards this new universe that I feel has welcomed me with open arms, which feels really, really nice. And yeah, I just can't wait to see what comes next.
I know it's so crazy. And last question before we wrap up. Cassandra Naud is a storyteller. That's what you do. What excites you the most about being a storyteller specifically?
Yeah. So for me, like storytelling in Cassandra is terrifying. I'm like easing into it a little bit more as I get older, but I grew up dancing, so being really physical with my body. So I was always really comfortable like storytelling with movement. But when it came to like actually using my voice, there's a little bit of a block, like of a wall, of a block there for me as a person. But when I get to do it as somebody else, it's almost like a full like release. I get to just like let go of everything and step into somebody else's shoes and tell a story and feel emotions. So that to me is just such a release, and I love doing it.
The release, that's interesting. The release. I didn't think about that. I get like so many. That's a question where I ask a lot of people, but early on in the interview process, I was like, maybe I'll get like the same like answers. But the reason why I continue like bringing it up is because I'm realizing how important in a lot of different ways storytelling is to a lot of incredible, storytellers like yourself. Like it's really, really crazy to see. Like if I go back and look at all the times I've asked that, there's been so many like that's your answer. Like no one said that before. You know what I mean?
Really? I love that.
About the release. I haven't heard of the release before. I heard maybe similar things, but like, that's really cool.
Yeah, it's almost therapeutic. It's not therapy. Everybody should go to therapy, but it is almost therapeutic. I don't know. There's something about it that's really special.
From a consuming perspective too, there really is that like therapy kind of medicine kind of component of it, like music, movies, and TV shows. And it's crazy to be like, watching all these movies and shows growing up and like having these people like on my show as guests and being like, when I was like, I had tough times at school and everything, and like your stuff really like helped me through that times. Like that's when it really starts to hit you. You know what I mean?
Totally. Because every story has a different lesson. So it's almost like every story that gets told, you learn something new, which is amazing.
You're going to learn a lot from Influencer. How to not
you would. Why to not be an influencer? Being an influencer.
Hey, the AI component's actually really scary, but that also might be a spoiler. I'm just going to wrap it up right now. Cassandra, thank you so much for coming on the show. This was so great.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
It's available now, Influencer, on Shudder. People can watch it on Shudder, which is awesome. Your Instagram account, they just put Cassandra Naud, they'll find you, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, this has been Popternative, youtube.com/Popternative for previous episodes. You can catch Cassandra Naud as CW in Influencer, streaming now on Shudder. Until next time, it's Cassandra and Peter Beats, signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube. Be sure to like Popternative on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.